Alfred Hitchcock used chocolate syrup for the blood in his classic film Psycho. Director Sam Raimi used corn syrup and red dye for his famous cult horror flick, The Evil Dead. You tell me this in my senior year of high school. Of course, I already know what substance was used for blood in what movies. I am the president of our school's AV club, and horror movies are my bread and butter. All us nerds love horror movies. We watch them during sleepovers when our eyes bulge from too much caffeine and after playing so many hours of GoldenEye. We still call them sleepovers. We let you impart your bits of trivia that we already know, because you are the new girl and you are hot. Your ass and what you look like naked are what we talk about when the scary movies are finished. And why you are even talking to us is beyond comprehension. If you only knew what we said about you at the sleepovers. You are the first girl member of the AV Club. You are a gem, untarnished by the cliques and prejudices of our school. You give us the confidence reserved for the cool kids. With you around, we are the cool kids. You are an incredible actress. Because of you, our zombie movies turn into romantic comedies. We write more kissing scenes. And yes, this is the scene where you find out your father is terminally ill, but yes, there still needs to be kissing in it. You make the rounds among the AV Club. You get with Jeff first. He's the gangly one. He tells us about your underwear, but don't worry, because he's totally respectful about it. You move on to the short guy, and then the goth kid. Bless your heart, you even make out with a kid who likes the Matrix sequels. You end up with Wade, something none of us expect because Wade isn't really part of the AV Club. He's a tan, muscular skateboarder with the best afro a white kid could hope for. He's a nice enough guy and agrees to be in our films once he notices you. Ever since you arrived, more people have taken an interest in the AV Club. We put Wade in movies to play the hunk. I guess it's not so surprising that you end up with him. Now, the jokes you tell are not that funny. The movie trivia you tell us, we already know it. And your acting kind of sucks too. When Wade gets drunk at parties, he talks about how hot your ass looks. And well, yeah, that's true. He also tells us that the first time you had sex with him, you said, "Oh, Wade, just stick it in there." He says it with his eyes closed in the fake seduction of porn stars. The impression is hilarious. We stopped putting you in our movies. You're too busy anyway. Hanging out with Wade, doing boyfriend-girlfriend stuff. Our movies become scary again, and the level of gore that goes into them is unprecedented. Alex Dyer is not part of the AV Club, but he might as well be. He's a loner with few friends and a penchant for video games. It's not that he's antisocial, just the misfortune of having parents who let him wear sweatpants too late into middle school. And he's carried that reputation with him. We don't know why Alex is riding his bike alone that night after graduation, but he's weird, and him being alone, well, that's sort of expected, isn't it? Besides, we're still obsessed with you, and we know where you're going. You are going up to the party in the rich neighborhoods because the movies we've put you in have made you popular. You, Wade, and a car full of friends are on your way to drink and commit little obscenities in a fashion usually reserved for the overprivileged. It's a big night for you. No wonder you don't want any of us to come along. The roads in that neighborhood are wide and seem to perpetually slope downward, perfect for a bike ride at night. The breeze that comes off the golf course pond feels so good through your hair, especially during those high mountain summer evenings when the dry air just holds you after a brutally hot summer day. It's easy to imagine what Alex looks like when the car full of kids, eager to get their drink on, the car you are riding in, pulls up alongside him, soaring down the road on a 10-speed, wind pushing his hair. It's easier to imagine him like that than the reality of him slumped over the bars, head down, pedaling like an awkward loner without rhythm or candor. We like to paint the departed with heroic colors. A race breaks out between your car and Alex, a friendly race capped off by that 25 mile per hour residential speed limit. Even the word race seems too competitive. With a 10 speed, 25 miles per hour is a piece of cake. The two of you, car and bike, just want to be parallel forces of moving, boisterous youth. Those brief moments before he crashed might have been the only time that Alex Dyer had peers. Alex travels at 25 miles per hour when he hits the parked car. It might be his general sulky demeanor that keeps his eyes off the road, but my guess is that he's probably looking at you. The impact lifts him off his bike, and he ricochets across the window. It's either a shard of broken glass or a metal edge that rips his throat open and bleeds him dry. I hear you never make it to that party. You tell us that your friend stops the car, and you run out to help the dying boy. You cradle his head off the ground. It doesn't matter that his blood gets on your party dress. You tell us that it looked exactly the same as the red number 40 food color we use in our movies. This is why we love you. You see the glint in his eyes, and he whispers, "Thank you," as the last of his life slips out of him. You tell us that he had a look of calm acceptance, that he looked happy to be held in the last moments of his unremarkable life. You say this with an air of self-sacrifice. Except none of it's true. I learned from Mrs. White, one of my mom's best friends who lives where the tragedy happens, that she is the first responder. She's the one who finds Alex. She's the one who dials 911. You and your friend stay in the car while she does this. The next day, you have your mom call Mrs. White to preemptively accuse her of lying about what happened that night, because how dare Mrs. White have a different account than our school's new bright and shiny star? I only hope that you do this in a panic. Have your mom call to acquit you from any blame, because it makes my skin crawl to imagine that you think Mrs. White would steal your spotlight. Look, no one blames you. It's a freak accident, the consequence of being young and reckless. No one even blames you for staying in the car, because heroism is rare in those situations. Shock is more common. But when Blake Dyer, Alex's brother, stands up at the funeral and calls you out by name, practically claiming you alone ushered him through those heavenly gates, that I cannot forgive. He even quotes the part about Alex's alleged last words, "Thank you," said to you, "for delivering him from his pain." I turn around and look back at you, 3 pews back, and you don't even make eye contact. Hitchcock used chocolate syrup for blood. Raimi used corn syrup. You know this because, for you, death needs to be sweetened. We don't ask you to be in movies anymore because we don't make movies anymore. We don't make movies anymore because the monsters from our films became real. But mostly, we don't ask you to be in movies because you have no fucking idea what blood looks like, and you never did. Thank you.